Yeah, this is where I came down to, just to come and have a look after the whoops. It was a lot thicker back then in 2020, it was like November 2020. And all that bank was all really thick and bushy. Well, it was just a wall of bushes basically. It's a lot bushier than it has been lately. But, yeah, it was totally different back in 2020. Yeah, after those whoops, that got my attention. Yeah, I stood here for like 10 minutes, just trying to work out what was going on and what made the noises. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I was standing here looking, and I'm sure one of those bigger trees at the back there, there was definitely like something looking at me. It looked like something looking at me, and I wasn't quite sure. I couldn't quite make it out, and it intrigued me. And then I've ducked down just to see if anything changed. And the second I came up, like it looked like it had moved, and so I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But yeah, the longer I stood here, the more movement I felt like whatever made those noises was starting to get a bit more curious and come around me. It was definitely an interesting little situation I put myself in. Yeah, so those sounds I heard, like, they weren't a deer. They were sort of a combination, almost like a dog and an ape. Like it had that woo, but like a deep woo, not a P at the end, but like a woo. And it was almost like a whip sound, like an echo, like a woo. And from like 3 or 4 different positions. And the funny thing was, when I backed out after I got a bit spooked, the second I went up the embankment on the road again, I heard one final one on the other side of the creek, as if to say, oh, he's coming this way. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. It's funny that this little spot, it's actually literally where as the crow flies, like a kilometre from that particular spot. You've had a lot of interaction. Like it's only, half a K to a K up the hill. And it's all interconnected by the look of it.
That'd be beautiful. Just say something, just say anything.
I love yowies.
Yep.
What a spot.
Hey.
What a spot.
Isn't it? All right, so today, very good friend, Mr. Dion Bennet. Dion's been a long-time researcher of the big fellas as well. Has had many experiences, many strange things. many who knows what the hell's going on. And like myself, has heard many vocals, tree breaks, a lot of things as well. We actually just heard a tree break just up the creek there, which unfortunately the camera wasn't recording, but Dion did hear a break just up here. So we come to a location around the back of the Hinge Dam. Hinge Dam is the feeder dam of the Gold Coast, to a location that Dion's been investigating for quite a while now. Reason being is that he went off his intuition, went off a hunch, came in here, come for a walk in. And even just today, walking in today, we come across foot impressions and that kind of thing as well. Signs of movement through the forest, as in like branches and twigs and that kind of stuff broken, which is a sign of movement through a forest. So even today coming in, we found footprints, foot impressions I should say, along with signs of movement through the forest. Even just to get to this location. So where Dion had his initial encounter, or sighting I should say, was a bit further back up the creek there. So we come a little bit deeper because it is a main thoroughfare, and being that we are in the forest, the sound of the cars does travel a bit. So we're trying to come up the creek a little bit deeper to try and cut out the noise of the cars going past in between Advanced Town and Natural Arch to the border. So yeah. So Dion, how you been?
Yeah, good mate.
Good?
Good.
That's
yeah.
awesome stuff.
Trying to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, that's the hard part, isn't it?
Yeah.
So can you basically just give us a rundown on what happened this particular day?
Well, it's funny because I wouldn't have actually stopped for long if I hadn't heard anything. I actually walked down just to have a look. I thought it was a really hot day. I thought I'll come and have a look, and it was like 37 degrees or something. And so this was November 16th, 2020. So a super hot day, late in the afternoon. I thought, oh look, I'll just come for a look. The only reason I started looking is like 2 years prior, I had a strange situation up on the south side of where we are now. And that involved like I was actually collecting rocks. Sorry, National Park. you donated to my pool landscape. But so while I was doing that back in 2018, I think it was like January or something like that, lots of cicadas. Cicadas were going berserk, and I'm shoveling rocks in the back of my van at the time, and all of a sudden, all I could smell was like an electrical smell, and the first thing I could think of was, ooh, am I in for like bushfires here? And I thought, oh, it was in my car, and I was like smelling my car, and the car didn't smell, and it just went dead silent. And I didn't think yowies or anything back then. I'm actually from Sydney. I grew up in a place called Gymea Bay, which is actually one suburb over from Yowie Bay, believe it or not. Not that like back when I was a kid, like we didn't talk about yowies and stuff. Maybe joke about bunyips and stuff like that. But so yeah, that situation came up in conversation with a mate of mine in a car once, mate Dan, and he said, oh, you probably had like a yowie encounter. And I was like, what? Really? Nah, it was probably just like bushfire or something, or someone burning something a few k's away. And he goes, no, have a look at this app. It was like a interactive map with all these sightings, and it was actually Dean Harrison's sighting map. And I looked at that, and that was 2 years prior to this place I've had an encounter. So 2 years go by, curiosity gets the better of me, and here I am here in 2020. And I don't know why, I just stopped at this creek. It was hot, and I thought, well, if anything lives here, it's going to be by a creek. It's really hot. They want to drink, they want to swim. I didn't know what I was going to find.
37 degrees, maybe. That's a warm day.
It was muggy and humid, and looked like it was going to storm later on. And yeah, but it was one of those days. And I'd gone up the road, turned around, because the only place you can park is the western side of this creek. I'd never stopped here before, so I started actually walking down on the western side, but it was covered in sticks. So I thought, oh, I'll go over the other side of the road, and it was all like just grass. So I was quiet as a mouse. Like I wasn't doing that intentionally. I just happened to walk down this left-hand side of the road. And the second I crossed the road near the creek, that's when all hell broke loose, and it was like whoop, 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 whoop. But all in this 50-yard area. And it's hard to remember, it was like maybe 3 or 4 powerful kind of whippy whoops, not with the P at the end, but just like a whoo, whoo.
From different
Nothing.
locations.
Yeah, but in a small area, it was almost like, hey, something's coming. Like I'd disturb someone or something, or and I thought, I did initially think deer. Oh, cool, oh, must be deer or something. And then I got to the edge of the creek, the guardrail, and I went, there's nothing here, like, what's going on? So I stood there, and I thought, oh, I'll just go down the embankment and have a look, which is probably another 20 metres. It's like a culvert sort of runoff area that Gary and I just walked down. But it just went dead quiet. And the more I looked, I felt really uneasy. Like it just felt like I was being watched. I didn't know what I was experiencing at the time. I was just there experiencing it. I was like, I wasn't reading into it. I just thought, this is creepy. Like, and then I happened to see probably a typical blob squatch looking back now, but it looked like a face in the bushes. It was quite thick. And the more I looked, I was like, what is that? I don't know why, I just instinctively ducked down and ducked up quick. And the second I did that, it looked like it had lifted its, like whatever it was, it moved up to see where I'd gone. And I was like, oh, this is creepy. and I was, all of a sudden I'm thinking, is this like beginner's luck? Like hit the jackpot? I didn't know what to think actually. I was a bit rattled. I was like, oh, okay, it's 5 o'clock, and then stood there for at least 5 minutes, maybe 10, and all I could hear was just little things moving, creeping, and the more I looked into the bush, I could see things there.
Yeah.
It was probably only 30, 40 metres away, uphill. I'm down in the little culvert thing, and it just felt like what was there was still there, but they're just slinking down low, looking at me, waiting for my move, and I was like, oh, okay. So I actually backed out. I said, oh, okay, I've had enough, like, this is too creepy, and walked up the embankment back to the guardrail and went to go up a bit before the sticks started again, and there was another last big whoop, but on the other side of the creek to where I'd been standing, and I was like, oh, like as if to say, oh, he's here now. And yeah, looking back, it's possibly what it was, but yeah, that, like, this is ground zero. That changed my whole paradigm. Like, that started off this whole, like, that was, what's that, almost 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago.
Yeah. And I mean, since then you've had a plethora of experiences since then,
mate,
which encompass pretty much everything.
Tons. A lot that I can write off. Like I'm more skeptical now. Like I'm a believer, but I'd call myself a skeptical believer.
Which is fair enough, because I mean, not everything's yowie. And as we do when we go out, if we hear or see something or find something, we always, as we did coming in here, I mean, we found potential foot impressions, and the first thing we did was look for the edges of boots, because in that kind of soft packed ground, edges of boots will show up, and they didn't have any, which again, obviously trying to rule out what it could be before saying what it is. Yeah,
you sort of, I found I'll set the bar higher every time for something I think might be yowie related. Like, I don't assume it's yowie all the time. You know, if I see something in the bush and go, oh, it looks like a face, I'll actually quite often come back a day or a week later and take a photo. I've done that with you actually
for sure.
A few times. I've sent you photos and and I said, I'll go back and have a look, make sure, and then sure enough, it's just, you know, it's a tree.
Not every time.
Or a stump.
Not every time.
No.
There's been a few times where you've sent me pictures, and
yeah.
it's that it doesn't look like a tree stump.
No. But all that leaves you is more questions. So
For sure.
I'm still at this point where, you know, I want that A+. Like, hello, I'm here, you're there. We both see each other and okay.
Yeah.
Hi. But yeah, there's places I've wandered into, like in between Mount Lindsay and Mount Barney, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like stuff, you know, 8 foot tall sticks that are 2 inches thick, 6 inches in the ground in the middle of nowhere. Like,
And
what does that?
That's the thing. Like even before people start jumping around.
Yeah.
Yes, Mother Nature. I've said this many times. Yes, Mother Nature does tricky stuff, and sticks do fall out of trees and spear into the ground.
Yeah.
But when you're finding sticks of that size and they're 6-7 inches into the ground, and there's no tree canopy above, and Dion, like me, Dion goes where people don't go. There's rarely any footpaths, any walking tracks. You literally, if you do use a walking track, it's for 50 metres, and it's a left or right turn into the forest. So that right there drops the potential for other humans or other situations like that for these kind of people to be jamming sticks in the ground. But yes, I mean, sticks in the ground in Mount Barney.
Well, it's the little ones that make you question too. Actually, the other day I just told you I went up to Carrick's place up in Springbrook, which is, you know, we all know it's notorious for stick structures and symbols, and I've seen them, you've seen them.
Yeah.
A few of us have seen them. Literally the other day, there was a stick this big, tiny little twig, and quite regularly it's through a leaf. Like, it's nothing that light, like feather light, like not even a quarter of a chopstick, through a leaf, and it's probably like a good inch into the ground. Like, it has to be placed. Like,
a
just
stick of that size doesn't have the weight, the value to spear in the ground like that.
Not at all.
Yeah, even if it did rain, a stick of that weight's still not going to spear in the ground like that.
But we haven't seen them put them in like that in front of us, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing, like that's where it comes back to experiences where sticks have been placed in certain situations. Where there wasn't a stick there, then a couple of days later there's a big stick jammed in the ground. Like when you go back to the Buckingham thermals, you know, that kind of stuff, where those sticks were not there.
The next morning,
exactly right. And that was within 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, and the likelihood of, you know, some person coming there at 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning. Or, no.
Exactly.
But, yeah, the search continues.
It does. I mean,
but yeah, actually, that Mount Lindsay, that's a super active place. I think. I think if there is big ones, they're there. Yeah, I told you a situation. I'm pretty sure I had a piss off with one. Maybe not. It was like down. Again, it was between Mount Barney, Mount Lindsay, and it was a little track that I've always wanted to have a look down. I drove past it a few times, and it's actually like a gated track that goes down towards Mount Lindsay, and it goes down to the creek. And you get there to a point, and then it must wind up around the mountain somewhere. Quite overgrown to the point where I got to, but literally just stood there for like 5 minutes, absorbing, having a look around. And there is like where a creek would be if the water was flowing, but there was no water, and I had to go to the toilet. So at this point, I'm standing there to go to the toilet, and I just finished, and seriously, it sounded like a horse pissing, like 20 metres away from me. It was that with the little paws and everything, like and it was like, hey, you just pissed, I can piss bigger than you. Or maybe I just, I don't know, stirred him up. But yeah, that made me back out. I think that was back in my more nervous days, where I'd push it a bit, and then I'd go, oh, okay, I'm out of it, I'm by myself here.
Well, it is an active area. I mean, for those people that don't know, Mount Lindsay actually has Yowie crossing painted on the road in multiple locations throughout that area. Mount Lindsay's on the border of Queensland and New South Wales, southwest of Bowen Desert. It is an active area. There are many reports throughout that area, including Woodinbong, which is just past Mount Lindsay.
Yeah, it's not far.
No.
It's only
Where
10 k's away.
people have had dogs stolen. There's a famous report of a elderly lady who let her little dog go out to the toilet one night, and the dog hadn't come back like in that usual time frame that the dog comes back. So the lady's gone to the back door, I can't remember if the light was turned on or off, but it doesn't matter. She's opened the back door to call her little dog in, and she sees this big thing walking off into the darkness holding her dog in one hand. So there is a lot of active places within that Mount Lindsay, Mount Barney, New South Wales, Queensland border, which then goes toward the border ranges as well, which is a very active area as well.
Well, it's a gateway to everywhere. There's ridgelines all through there.
Yeah, all connected.
And there's dry areas, there's rainforesty areas, there's water everywhere down in the big creeks. Yeah, if they're going to be anywhere, it's probably there.
Yeah. I mean, just like this area.
Mount Barney I've been to too, and seen big sticks and track waste going through weird spots there as well. But that's heavily used by humans. Yeah,
but I mean, but that Mount Barney area, if people may remember, a few years ago on the front page of the Gold Coast Bulletin, very good friends of mine, Laura and Angie, they come across a giant footprint in the sandstone, and they put one of their running shoes inside it, and that picture that they took with the lady's running shoe inside this footprint made the front page of the Gold Coast paper.
Oh, that was there, was it?
Yeah, that was Mount Barney, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it must have been like a 19, 20-inch footprint.
Yeah.
Something that big.
Yeah, right.
But like, I mean, as we see, like you've had a plethora of experiences with finding structures and symbols and tree breaks and footprints.
It's almost a blur now. Like
even the vocalisations as well.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's I mean, even when I was with Australian Yowie Research, Dion come and did a couple of nights with us here and there, especially up at Springbrook there, and laying there at night, hearing tree knocks in the distance, and actually getting out there in the forest and doing what we do. Now, a place called Illumbah, one of your favourite places. This is basically Lamington National Park, a certain location that we've gone to quite a few times, both together and both separate. Pretty much every time you go to this area, something's always found, be it footprints or whatnot. Even the last time we went out there together, within metres of getting over the fence into the national park. And when I say that, it is a national walking track. We're not just jumping fences randomly. So it is an actual proper access to Lamington National Park. Within metres, Dion come across child-sized footprints. They must have been like a size 6 or 7, little tiny toes and everything.
Yeah, it's quite defined, yeah.
And not somewhere that little kids of like
no chance.
3, 4, 5-year-old human kids are going to be walking barefoot either.
No, not a chance. I mean, one way's 5 kilometres.
Yeah.
And to get to that start of that spot, it's gnarly. There's snake riddle.
Yeah, and it's also a K and a half walk as it is from Reed Park.
Yeah, and you wouldn't know it's there. Like no. It's a spot like no average Joe Blow from the Gold Coast would even know it exists. I didn't know.
Yeah.
But that's the second time I've seen little prints like that. I saw them at Wonga Wallen as well, but close to houses. So
yeah.
But there was another little stick next to that little tiny footprint.
Yeah.
So must be little ones. There's big ones.
I mean, they have to, mate. I'm sure that they're not giving birth with size 16-inch feet.
Yeah. but you found those cracker prints too. There.
It's the same area. Yeah, it was four different beings walking together.
Yeah.
They're all 4 different size feet and 4 different shaped feet.
They were some of the best prints I've seen.
And that's of course a day that I didn't take plaster.
Yep.
Yep. But I took it before and after that and didn't find anything. But that particular day, no plaster. Beautiful footprints.
Yeah, that's usually my case too.
Oh, it's painful, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, even speaking about that area that we went to, I mean, the last time Dion and I went there, which as I said, within metres, Dion found little child-sized footprints. And this comes back to a very frustrating situation for the both of us, which I've touched on a couple of times in other podcasts and whatnot, where Dion and I heard they would have been the #1 vocalizations in the country, and without any audio cleanup. So basically what happened was we entered the area, Dion come across the child-sized footprints, and as we do, we keep moving, we keep looking, we keep finding, and we got maybe 100 to 150 metres up the trail, and I come across an X marker at the base of a tree, and behind me Dion's found something little intertwined sticks and whatnot. So I had the camera out and I was recording Dion looking at this little stick woven little configuration, but we then decided, no, I think it's just a Mother Nature situation, so we just left it at that. I then pressed stop record, and to our left, at about 50 metres at the most, is a creek system down there. And we heard what can only be described as a big silverback vocalisation. Whoa, whoa, whoa! I was hoping that we get a return.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Even a tree knock.
Well, we even thought we could sense the lip
Yeah.
purse in the sound. Like
Yes.
it wasn't an owl, or like it had that deep.
Yeah, and you could
feel
hear
it, yeah, you could feel
the
the
depth in the
strength.
chest cavity.
Yeah, it was
Like
strong.
it come out of something big.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, you know, and of course the camera's turned off as usual, and
Yeah.
we stood there just in awe. And as we said before, you know, we started to try to rule out, but there's nothing to rule out, and we just stood there in shock and awe.
Well, that place, and here's probably the only time I've heard that depth of
Yeah,
whoop.
yeah,
I've
Oh,
heard
it's incredible.
I've heard lots of whistles. And
yeah,
strong human-like whistles, and
yeah.
But yeah, they're the only two places, and it's like, hey, oh, okay, that's not usual. It's not a little deer. It's not a cow. It's not a.
Oh, there's
You
nothing.
like-
There's nothing in Australia
Yeah.
that would make that kind of vocalisation at that volume, at that girth, that depth.
Yeah.
That the way that it carried through the forest toss, and we just looked at each other, just in shock and amazement.
Well, we actually heard it.
Yeah, it
after
happened
that
again.
too. Yeah, you actually did
so,
turn on your.
Yeah, so I turned the camera back on, and I'm recording us talking about what just happened, and we heard the vocalisation again, but it was a lot further away, so I was starting to move up that next ridgeline on the other side of the creek. Unfortunately, it was too far away for the camera to pick it up. I'm sure you could probably analyse that camera footage and really suck the vocal out of it, which is the painful thing, because the initial vocalisation,
That was a cracker.
a raw audio recording, you could show to anyone. There was no scrubbing or cleaning up
It was
needed.
clear. Like it was
Like-
50 to 100 max.
It's
away
like,
from us.
it's just like us talking to each other
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
It was that clear.
But it was directed at us too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It was like, oh, ooh, hey.
Yeah, but the amazing thing was that second vocalisation
Yeah.
had a tree knock response a bit further up the creek.
It did too.
The camera did pick up the tree knock response. So I'm going to upload that particular video to the end of this, so you can all watch that as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of strange noises around here.
Yeah, I know.
I know there's breeze, but
Oh yeah, big movement up there.
we did. And then while you're talking earlier, there's double movement up there.
Yeah.
I know like there's a bit of breeze and bark falls, but there's a couple of noises.
But that whoop spot is right in between my little find and your footprint find.
Yeah.
Right in the middle. Like
Yeah.
it's right there.
Yeah.
And it was probably just sitting there watching us.
Two of them. I mean, two of them.
Could have been two.
One
yeah.
one vocal, one tree knocked.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's, as you see, like that's just going back to the footprints that I did find. When I was actually videoing and filming and taking photos of those footprints, it had been quite grown over, so national parks hadn't cleaned up the track. Again, it's not a very highly known to be able to use trail, so I assume national parks don't get out there too much. But when I was there, I was ducked down under the ferns, walking along filming these footprints, these incredible footprints of the four of them moving together. I think someone up ahead saw me notice his footprints, and they're watching me. I've ducked in under the ferns. I think they expected me to pop out here, except because I was following the footprints, I popped out up there. And when I popped out, something took off bipedally up that embankment beside me. I didn't see anything because I was focused on these footprints. I popped out, oh wow, amazing, bang, something's taken off up this way. And as Dion said, that's, yeah, so that particular area, heavy activity. We are actually in talks about organising an overnighter out there, so we'll go check it out and take the hammocks, and I think that's going to be an interesting night as well.
Yeah, as long as that water's not running too much.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think if we positioned ourselves off up the bank a bit, like, we'll be able to hear stuff. There's actually stuff moving around us quite a bit right now.
I think so too, yeah.
Quite a bit.
Just, of course,
Like
yeah.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
We've been whooping too much.
Come
Talking
down,
about-
come
yeah,
down, mate.
we're here.
Make an appearance on camera.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
I mean, this area, like, it's, you know, we're below Beachmont, and the amount of activity on Beachmont is just as much as Springbrook. And this particular area in this western direction that I'm pointing to, there's a lot. I mean, the last time we come in here, we had tree knocks and whoops at, in like mid-morning, and pretty much he follows right up into the front of Beachmont. It goes right up into a location up there, and a couple of streets up in Beachmont there, where there's 2 sightings, 2 encounters within a month of each other at this particular spot, and that spot drops straight into these valleys and these ravines and these ridges here. So again, it would not surprise me at all if we have some visitors just hanging back a bit, watching what we're doing, and wondering what the hell we're doing as well. Talking about you.
Yeah. Oh, it's just so steep here too.
Yeah.
There's plenty of places to hide.
Oh, as when we came walking through here last time, like we actually were going pretty rough for a bit over the back there.
Yeah, that was my first experience of Gary dragging me through the bush. I came out with skin and came. I went in with skin and came out.
Come out
with a bit less skin. Yeah, I looked like someone had whipped me.
But that's what you got to do. Like, it's you know, you do that, and that's when we come across structures, and we come across footprints, and we come across X markers.
Yeah. Or if
with
you
the
want answers,
vocals
you got to go find them.
Exactly right. You know, stay on the track for a little bit, but you know, if you want to find those results, you have to do the work and go bush.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, I'll put that footage from the other camera on the back of this video, so you can all suss that out, and you'll see us actually in that moment, because it was seconds after just missing that vocalization. So what you'll see on that particular little clip is us in the raw emotion of wow, shock, that was amazing and whatnot. Anyway, Dion, I appreciate your time, mate.
Thanks, buddy.
So again, Dion Bennet, if you have any sign writing work that you need done on the Gold Coast, Achtung Signs.
Actually, Achtung Design. But
Achtung Design, sorry. Achtung Design on Brisbane Road, Gold Coast. Go see Dion, awesome guy, knows what he's doing, great work. Anyway, till next time, have a good one.
Cheers.
Okay, so as timing goes, as Murphy's Law goes, we've come across some interesting finds so far. As I said, Dion has come across foot impression within 5 metres across from the gate. I'll go again because my face is too close to the camera. That's the same noise, it's moved further away. Okay, so what we've just heard, the first one was a little bit closer. we both agree it was a very ape-like sound. Woo, 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 woo.
Totally.
It was not a bird. There are cows up there in the paddock. We both agree that was not a cow. It was a very ape-like sound, and we just heard it again, but this time it's a little bit further away. So whatever it is moving further away. Now this is after we've entered the area. Dion's come across a foot impression 5 metres inside the fence. We've already found X markers on the ground, that kind of thing. And again, this is an area that is known for high activity, and an area that I found a lot of footprints a while ago in the mud. Hence why we are back here today after the big rains to try and catch some more footprints in the mud. And this time I brought plaster. So hopefully that second vocalisation was caught on this camera. It wasn't as loud as the first one, so... Tree knock?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounded like,
Now it says like we've got tree knocks. Tree knocks, we have a creek down this way. The vocalisations came, I guess, from our north-east. Those tree knocks just then came from our east, the other side of the creek. So I guess we'll continue and see what we can find.